I'm Mindy Donald, and I'm a middle school reading teacher, and I interviewed a special education teacher who is also in many different content areas in the classrooms as a gen ed teacher or with a gen ed teacher. And what I did was I interviewed her in regards to literacy and the similarities and differences within the classrooms. And for the general education classroom, one of the differences was that the teacher shares the reading and writing assignments with the special education teacher, and then I have that they reteach literacy skills. For the differences for the special education teacher, I have that they support the gen ed classroom with regards to literacy, and they work with students with special needs to ensure that they have read the material or they read it to them. For the similarities, which I was thrilled to find that there were so many things that were the same, I only had 3 differences, and I have a ton of similarities between the two. Both classrooms help students plan out and produce writing assignments. So they do the step-by-step. Freshmen especially will do a step-by-step of their thesis statement and their supporting statements, and then they break it down even further in the special education classroom, so they help them produce writing assignments. They both help students gain the reading and writing skills they need to be successful in life. So even though they're reading in the gen ed classroom, they're reading as well in the special ed classroom and honing those skills that they really need to work on. One of their main visions, and the main vision for both of the classrooms, was that students have the reading and writing skills they need to be successful in whatever profession they choose to work in, which is important, which is what we strive to do. Not only do we want them to be proficient in reading, but we want them to be successful in what they do, and reading is a huge part of that. Another similarity is that they want them to be able to read about and discuss current event topics and have a better understanding of the current events that surround them. One thing it seems like in our small community, we live in a very small community, in a country community, that our students really are not, they don't get to explore a lot of the things that are outside of our district. And it's important that that they do get that. So we make sure that they get different current events through newspapers or Channel 1 News or different things. And we want them to be able to discuss those things and write about them and to be able to understand them. And we do that a lot through our reading and writing. They also wanted to be able to share those perspectives of those current events in a respectable and responsible manner. One thing with the speaking and listening Common Core standards is that we make sure that students sit and listen quietly and respectfully, and that when they do share things, that they do that in a respectable and responsible manner as well. So we want to make sure that not only do they have a better understanding of current events that are outside of our district, but they're able to share those things through writing and speaking and listening of those current events. We want students, or they want students, to be exposed to as many different types of reading and writing as possible, which is imperative. We understand that exposure needs to not just be in literature, not just in informational text, but we want to make sure, whether it's in the gen ed or the special ed classroom, that they're exposed to a ton of different types of material. And not only that, the next similarity is that they want to be able to want those students to be able to differentiate between plays, poems, memoirs, etc., all the different things. They need to be exposed to it, but we want them to be able to differentiate with what those things are. And once again, they learn those in the gen ed classroom, and this teacher is in there as they're learning that. But with each thing that is shared with a special education teacher, then they just expand on those things or break it down maybe even further so that they gain a deeper understanding of them that students do. Only 2 more similarities. The next one is to be able to produce different kinds of writing, from narrative, persuasive, informational, they want to be able to have students be able to do that, whether they're in special education or general education. And one of the main things that she talked about was that they had the same expectations as the general education classroom, but that they may be modified to where it's 3 paragraphs instead of 4 pages, as long as they still hold themselves to those high expectations, include all of the topics that need to be included, then they're able to perform at that high level of expectancy. The last one is to help students choose outside reading materials that fit their interests and reading abilities, and that's huge. One thing that I have found as a reading teacher is that we have just such a huge level of difference in what students want to read and their levels. I have students that read at the 3rd grade level and students that read as a level 1 in college. So we need to make sure that we conference with all of the students to ensure that we're finding everything that they want to read. Usually every other Friday I will conference with my students. I talk to them about their reading. I have them read a little bit to me so I can talk to them about their fluency. But I think it's imperative that students know that we want them to be successful, and we care about what they're reading. We care about their interests, and one way to do that is to conference and chat with them about what it is we expect, or what it is they expect from us, and what we expect from them in regards to reading. So what I'm taking away from this interview with the special education teacher is that there are many different similarities between the two, and I was thrilled to find that. That the special education may support the gen ed classroom in regards to literacy, and that the teacher shares the assignments with the special ed teacher, so she's prepared to help teach that, but that they both come together and they both work on planning out and producing writing assignments. They want to ensure that they have the reading and writing skills to be successful. They help them choose reading materials that fit their interests. We all came together and decided, and we came to the understanding about the exposure to the different types of reading and writing. So it's, I found in our district, at least at the secondary level, that they come together for one common goal to help each of those readers become successful regardless of their skill level. Thank you.